I think the obvious answer is Donald Trump is afraid. He's afraid of this change. He's acting like it. Listen, I'm a combat veteran. I know fear and fatigue when I see it. And he's acting tired and he's acting afraid here. You know, someone needs to wake him up. And I know he has a hard time staying awake. You know, he fell asleep repeatedly at his own nominating convention. He fell asleep repeatedly at his own criminal trial. Someone needs to wake him up and let him know the next generation of American leadership is here and it's on.
Donald Trump is reportedly very hesitant to debate Vice President Kamala Harris, and though the Fox propaganda network is doing everything in its power to provide cover for him, they're also interviewing Democrats who are publicly calling Trump a coward on their network, and it's glorious. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, this is a lot of fun. We have several clips to review here. As a reminder, I'm recovering from an illness, so if I sound strange, just please bear with me. So this was reported on The Hill and other outlets that the Trump campaign won't commit to debates with Vice President Kamala Harris. The Trump campaign said Thursday it would not agree to a general election debate with Vice President Kamala Harris until Democrats formally decide on their nominee after Harris already said she was ready to debate Trump. Quote, given the continued political chaos surrounding crooked Joe Biden and the Democrat Party, general election debate details cannot be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee, end quote, said Trump Communications Director Stephen Chung. Chung claimed that, quote, there is a strong sense by many in the Democrat Party that Kamala Harris is a Marxist fraud who cannot beat Donald Trump, and they're still holding out for someone better. Okay. Therefore, it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris because Democrats very well could still change their mind, again, says Chung. Now, we're going to get into the backlash that Fox is getting and Trump is getting on the Fox network by Democrats who are just calling him a coward, because of course he is. But I do want to play this clip here because, again, you have Martha McCallum and Dana Perino and others trying to do everything in their power to suggest that, in fact, you know, this actually makes sense. It's kind of justified. Trump's got a point. And so I want to play that clip, that cope first, and then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Hi, Benson. Let's just talk about the debate issue real quickly, because Kamala Harris just said on that video, she said, I agreed to the debate terms. But you weren't the candidate then. She actually didn't agree to a debate on September 10th.
It's a different campaign now. I saw her campaign put out a tweet, whatever happened to any time, any place, talking about the sort of boasting and bravado of Donald Trump. That was a challenge and a gauntlet he threw down to the winner of the Democratic primaries, who is no longer the candidate, right? Because the first debate actually happened. We had a general election debate in this country, and it went so badly for the Democratic nominee that he dropped out of the race. So if Kamala Harris would like to have debates with Donald Trump moving forward, I think it'd be good to at least have one. I think Trump is 100% right to open the negotiations all over again, because you can't just switch in a new candidate midstream in the middle of a general election and pretend like the previously agreed to things all must remain in place for you. This is very abnormal, and so this is the right move by the Trump campaign.
There's no question that it's the right move by the Trump campaign, because there's no question that the vice president will clean Trump's clock, proverbially speaking, in that debate. Trump is profoundly stupid. He doesn't know anything about foreign or domestic policy. He can't answer direct questions with substance. And the vice president is none of those things. She's very smart. She's educated on both foreign and domestic policy. And she's a prosecutor who is able to prosecute the case against Donald Trump, who is an adjudicated rapist, an adjudicated fraudster, and a convicted felon. She's also, unlike Trump, not saddled with the burdens of age and cognitive decline. As you know, a majority of Americans have doubts about Donald Trump's ability to serve as president, his mental fitness, as it were. So, yes, I agree that from purely cynical politics, yes, the Trump campaign should be terrified about putting their enfeebled, idiotic candidate on stage with the vice president. But I love this idea that, well, listen, you know, those terms didn't apply because you weren't the candidate. You weren't the nominee. Well, a Democratic congressman makes that point, kind of flips it on its head and fact checks these Fox propagandists and calls Trump a coward. And it's a lot of fun.
The last debate, Martha, happened when both candidates were not their confirmed nominee either. So what has changed is my question. I think the obvious answer is Donald Trump is afraid. He's afraid of this change. He's acting like it. Listen, I'm a combat veteran. I know fear and fatigue when I see it. And he's acting tired and he's acting afraid here. You know, someone needs to wake him up. And I know he has a hard time staying awake. You know, he fell asleep repeatedly at his own nominating convention. He fell asleep repeatedly at his own criminal trial. Someone needs to wake him up and let him know The next generation of American leadership is here, and it's on. The last.
I love it. I love it. Martha McCallum, she rolled her eyes. She was left scratching her neck because she knows that the Democrats, and of course, Jason Crow here is doing it partly tongue in cheek. What he's doing is he is showing Fox viewers and the Republicans of how effortless it's going to be for Democrats to be able to flip the script on Republicans. Now, whether or not we will do it successfully, that remains to be seen. But it's on there. It's so easy for us to say, hey, all that crap you were talking about President Biden, we can just now flip it on Donald Trump with even more credibility, because now the contest isn't between two septuagenarians, octogenarians who are gaffe machines and whom the polls say Americans have doubts about their mental fitness. No, Kamala Harris is 59 years old and she is an excellent debater. She's in her mental prime. There are no polls indicating that people have any concerns about her mental fitness, and she's an excellent debater. So now the concerns about age and mental fitness are exclusively on Donald Trump, and we can pulverize that particular vulnerability that Trump has. And McCallum knows it. McCallum's like, that's why she's scratching her head and appealing to, oh, come on, show mercy on us, take it easy on us, even though that is exactly what we did with President Biden when Donald Trump and Biden were the presumptive Democratic nominees. But again, we should not indulge them. We are not obligated to take it easy on Trump rhetorically in this campaign. I think it would be campaign malpractice. It would be stupid. It would be irrational to not hit Donald Trump on his age and his stupidity and his incompetence and the perception that he's mentally unfit to be president. And if Fox wants to whine about it, we can just say exactly what I said, which is, listen, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You whined about Biden. Biden's no longer in the race. Trump is still in the race, which means all these criticisms still perfectly apply. And if you don't want them to apply, then get Donald Trump out of the race. But I also love the fact that Crow is like, listen, the first debate, which went disastrously for the president, also for Trump as well, but he's graded on a curve, neither of them were the confirmed party nominees. And again, Martha McCallum has no response to that because she knows it's true. So the logic of, well, Kamala Harris isn't the nominee yet, that doesn't fly. That doesn't work, because if that were the case, then Biden or Trump should have ever had the first debate in the first place. Another clip here with a different Fox host, Harris Faulkner, also pretty good.
Look, I think Kamala Harris is exactly what Donald Trump is afraid of. Look, he's been talking about all of these issues on the border. She went down to South America, Central America, to try to help from the root of the problem, not the symptoms. If Donald Trump cared about the border, he wouldn't have blocked policies to change it.
We're going to move on.
Look.
I love it, folks. I love this energy. I love the fact that, again, people are talking about how Trump is so afraid to stand on stage with Harris, and how all he has are lies and, racist and misogynistic dog whistles, which likely will not serve him with the people that he desperately needs to court to win the election. Because remember, the anti-Trump coalition was, and shall always be bigger than the pro-Trump coalition. So their advantage is that the pro-Trump coalition is so radicalized and so motivated to turn out for their cult leader. But if they piss off the anti-Trump coalition such that the anti-Trump coalition, much of which had been disengaged, unfortunately, when President Biden was the presumptive nominee, well, there's a chance that might turn around. And again, if eligible voter turnout is maximized for both sides, Democrats will win and Republicans will lose reliably, which is why they dread it. I want to play the vice president's take on Trump's hesitance to commit to debating her.
Previously agreed upon September 10th debate. He agreed to that previously. Now it appears he's backpedaling, but I'm ready. And I think the voters deserve to see the split screen that exists in this race on a debate stage. And so I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah, I think we're all ready. And listen, is it possible that the vice president will faceplant? I'm sure, right? I guess anything is possible. But listen, you guys should go back, if you all don't remember, and see when she was just Senator Harris, right? And her conversations and her interrogations of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh during his confirmation hearing, and former H.W. Bush and former Trump Attorney General Bill Barr during his congressional hearings as well. She is ruthlessly intelligent. She has an enormously storied career as a prosecutor, so she knows how to be adversarial in a courtroom or in a debate, with an interlocutor, I think the odds are pretty decisively against Trump there as well. I do want to play one other clip, too, of her potential vice presidential running mate, Josh Shapiro, the Democratic governor of of Pennsylvania. This is what he has to say about Trump's hesitation to debate the vice president.
Now, gang, you could not have a clearer contrast in this race. You could not have a clearer contrast between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And let me tell you something. He's pretty afraid. Y'all see, he's backing out of the debate now. He's afraid to stand toe-to-toe with our vice president. And you know why that is? It's not just because she's a skilled debater. It's not just because she's got the right positions on the issues that matter most to the good people of Pennsylvania and this country. It's because he can't run away from his record any longer. Think about it. 4 years as president. Guy stacks the NLRB with a bunch of corporate folks who have tried to rip away your rights every step of the way. We can't go back to that, and he can't defend that.
There's no question. This is, I said on Twitter, I would encourage any Trump supporter to defend the merits of the Trump-Pence administration, the 4 years that Trump was in office, against the merits of the Biden-Harris administration. I've never seen somebody actually attempt to make an affirmative case for Trump's presidency. I've seen many attacks on Biden. I've seen many appeals to Trump exposing corruption and exposing the deep state, which is, of course, nonsense because he's the ultimate swamp creature. He's the ultimate, monument to corruption. The fact that he didn't divest himself of his businesses, his refusal to return over his tax returns, which was a stark contrast to any presidential candidate in decades. The fact that he repeatedly built the Secret Service for millions of dollars. The fact that he courted foreign business to his hotels and his properties. The fact that he took millions of dollars from our foreign adversaries while he was president. The fact that, he put his daughter and his son-in-law, both of whom were unqualified, senior White House positions, giving them government authority, government security clearances. And then they walked away with Chinese trademarks and a $2 billion investment from the Saudi government, even though the Saudi government's financial advisors and wealth managers begged the Saudi government not to invest with Jared Kushner. I digress. So obviously he is more corrupt by far than any politician. But even if I granted that premise, even if I granted them the stupid talking point that Trump is not corrupt, what has he done with respect to policy? What did his government, his administration do for 4 years that was not only good, but better than the Biden administration and certainly in aggregate? Yeah, so I think this, if it does come down to record, just objectively speaking, the Biden-Harris record is objectively far superior to the Trump-Pence record, which is why you see nobody trying to make that case to the contrary. Love this stuff. Love the fact that Trump is being called out by Democrats as a coward on the Fox propaganda network, such that even Fox News hosts are kind of speechless and left rolling their eyes and scratching their necks. And, come on, man, please take it easy on our guy. No, we're not going to take it easy on your guy. Your guy is a loser. He's a coward. He's an idiot. He's a buffoon. And he should be treated that way from now until the election. Let me know what you think in the comments.